Hey, it is Kenny from Kenny's Audiophile Record Reviews. Thank you very much for viewing my channel. Please like and subscribe if you're new to my channel. That'll help me out. In this video, I'm going to recommend 5 records that I recently listened to. I'm going to do a really short, give a real short assessment or opinion on these 5 records in this video. And before you even consider purchasing these records, I would always recommend listening to the records on YouTube first. See if you like the music first, and then decide if you're going to buy them or not, or purchase them or not. And also, listening experiences may vary. You know, my system may not be as high fidelity as yours, and therefore some of the listening experiences may vary. I will leave a partial list of my equipment in the description below to give you an idea of the type of equipment I listen to these records on. For example, I have a Rega P8 turntable with a Feather 3 cartridge and a Technics SP-15 turntable with a Hana ML cartridge. I have also a Audio-Technica mono cartridge. I believe it's an AT33MONO, I believe, cartridge. But that type of cartridge will be listed with my equipment in the description below. Like I said, it's a partial list of some of the equipment I have in my music room. I have some equipment outside of my music room, like some Dahlquist DQ10 speakers and stuff like that, but they're not part of my equipment in my music room. But like I said, all the equipment, or most equipment in my music room, will be listed in the description below. It's a partial list, not the full list. But I'm going to get started on these records and just give a quick opinion and assessment on these records. I'm just recommending them in terms of performance and sound of my system, like I said, it might vary in yours. I'm going to start with this one. And I think I mentioned this in a previous video. I'm going to mention it again. This record was sent to me as a promo record from Impex, Elusive Disc, Impex Records. This is Saturday Night in San Francisco, Al Di Meola, John McLaughlin, and Paco de Lucia. I'm probably mispronouncing Paco's name, so please forgive me. But I listened to this record, and it's very, very dimensional, very holographic, very beautiful, very realistic guitar jazz performance on my system. You can feel like the energy of the audience, you know, when listening to this record. And it was very well put together by Impex Records. From what I understand, we're looking at some of the videos on this record by Impex Records. Al Di Meola was in possession of the tapes for this record, and they were able to resurrect the tapes and put this project together. And I highly I'm highly recommending this record. Like I said, mine was sent to me as free as a promo. I'm being honest with my audience. It was sent to me free as a promo, but I highly recommend this record. It sounds fabulous, sounds great, it sounds very dimensional and real on a nice stereo setup. It takes off where Friday Night in San Francisco left off. Friday Night in San Francisco. This one right here, Saturday Night in San Francisco, is a 33 RPM record, whereas Friday Night in San Francisco is a 45 RPM record, at least my version of it. This sounds just out of the world amazing. This is on Impex Records as well. I recommend this one as well. I especially enjoyed side 2. It was very, very dimensional, very energetic in terms of the playing of the 3 amazing guitar players in this in the venue that they were playing in. It was very, very well recorded in my opinion, and it sounds spectacular on my system in terms of guitar playing, in terms of the dimension and the realism and the you are there feeling, you know, almost similar to jazz at the pawn shop. Not quite as good as jazz as a pawn shop in terms of realism, but it's close. It sounds really good. I recommend a Friday Night in San Francisco and Saturday Night in San Francisco if you do not have them. Like I said, listen to them on YouTube first, see if you enjoy and love the music. I would do that first. Another record I would recommend is this Helen Merl Gordon Beck record. Now this was recorded December 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 1984. So that means it was probably released in 1985. I paid $2 for this one at a thrift store. It may have been in 2023. I don't know if I purchased this year. But I recently listened to it. It comes in this polyline sleeve. I'll show you the label. And I listened to it on my system. And Helen Merl's voice and Gordon Beck's keyboard playing is quite good, and it sounds great on the on my stereo setup, especially Helen Merl's voice on my system in terms of the the echo delay and the dimension of her voice. It really sounds great. Gordon Beck plays acoustic and electric piano and Korg organ on this record, and his solos are actually very good. And my favorite song on here, first of all, I'll show you the song listing. I don't know if you can see them, but that is the song listing. Sorry if it does not come out, if you can't see it. But they do a great version, and Helen Merl does a great vocal version of the song, When I Look in Your Eyes. That song was originally in the movie Dr. Dolittle, I believe. And she does an amazing version of that song. Now, that's not the best version of that song I've ever heard. The best version of When I Look in Your Eyes belongs to Andy Williams, in my opinion. Andy Williams just does an over-the-top, amazing, spectacular job of that song. Nobody can touch Andy Williams' version of that song, especially at the end when he holds that note. That brother had it together. Nobody can touch Andy Williams in that song, but Helen Merl's version is great. I recommend this record. Like I said, listen to it on YouTube first, see if you like it. It sounds very great on a nice stereo setup. The voice of Helen Merl and the keyboard playing of Gordon Beck. I recommend this record. Another record that I recommend, and I purchased this record, by the way, from Impex Records, Hitz the Lark. Now, I'm not highly knowledgeable about classical music. I have a lot of classical records in my collection. I'm a fan of classical music, but not a huge fan. I'm not that very knowledgeable. All I know is this record sounds spectacular. This is a mono record. If you want to hear a violin in your room, this is one of the records I have, Hitz the Lark. Side one is a very emotional affair. It's very, emotional playing by Hitz. It really just gets you into it. It really does. That's side one. Where side two, to me, is more of a technical play of Hitz. It still sounds great, but the emotion, to me, is in side one. This record, when I was listening to it the first time, Hitz the Lark, it was like, I'm a huge sports fan. It's like watching an NBA game and it's coming down to final seconds and it's really close. And you're waiting to see what's going to happen next. Or you're watching a movie with a great plot twist. That's a great plot twist. That's this record, especially side one. It just has you just riveted to your listening chair in terms of what Hitz is going to do next. I highly recommend this record. Listen on YouTube first, see if you like it. Sounds spectacular. It was very well recorded for a mono record. Great job by Impex Records on this particular record, Hitz the Lark. The next one I'm going to recommend is, I got it from a recommendation from a Chad Kassem video. He did a video on some of his favorite jazz records. And he mentioned this one, Louis Armstrong and Duke Ellington, recording together for the first time. Now, I purchased this at a thrift store, I think sometime this year, and I didn't play it because I have a backlog of records to get caught up with. I'll probably never get caught up, but that's a great problem I have, in my opinion. So once he recommended this record, I said, gosh, I purchased that record at a thrift store for a couple of dollars. So I cleaned it by hand with distilled water, and because I was so eager to listen to it. Now, I listened to it one time. That one time I said, I better put in my ultrasonic cleaner, my Hummingbrew ultrasonic cleaner. I put in a, audiophile sleeve. I'll show you the label. This recording, it's like you're in the studio with Louis Armstrong. That's how good it is. And the bass player himself. The best bass playing, the way they recorded it, the way they mic'd this record is tremendous. A lot of stereo recordings I think this came out in the early 60s, maybe 1961 or something like that, somewhere around that time frame. You have that strict right and strict left recording technique with nothing in the middle, or very little in the middle. This sucker here, man, they did a magnificent job of recording this session of these two jazz giants, Louis Armstrong and Duke Ellington. It says produced by Bob Thiel. I think he was involved in a lot of the Impulse record recordings. I'll show you the inside of the gatefold. There's some staining inside. This is a huge record, but for $2, this was a tremendous buy of a simply spectacular recording. It really is. I highly recommend this because of the performance of Louis Armstrong and Duke Ellington, and just the realism of that. You're like there in the studio. I was just blown away by this particular on my system. That doesn't not guarantee it's going to sound like that on yours, but that's how it sounds on mine. Louis Armstrong, Duke Ellington recording together for the first time. I recommend this record. And the last one, I believe this is the last one. Now this one, A New Perspective by Donald Byrd, Band and Voices. This is a very good recording. I love the playing. This includes Donald Byrd on trumpet, Hank Mobley tenor sax, Donald Best vibes, Kenny Burrell guitar, Herbie Hancock piano, Butch, I think it's Butch Warren, bass, Lex Humphreys drums. I'll show you the musicians. And it's a very good recording that features voices, and the voices was directed by Coleridge Perkinson. I think he was involved in a group of singers for a long time. I hope I'm pronouncing his name right. Coleridge Perkinson. He was involved in a group of singers for a long time. And they do a good job of integrating the voices with these fabulous players. They really do. I thought they could have done a little bit better job because I'm spoiled by one record that does an overtop great job of integrating voices with jazz. I'm going to get to that in a second. But I recommend that this is one. Listen to it on YouTube first. Make sure it's your type of jazz with these voices. But it's a very good recording. This is part of the Blue Note Classic series. Donald Byrd, Band and Voices, A New Perspective is the name of the record. But to me, what beats this record in terms of integrating voices in a jazz setting, McCoy Tyner, Inner Voices. I recommend this record. This one does a fabulous job of integrating jazz and voices. McCoy Tyner, Inner Voices. But this is a recommendation nonetheless. But listen to it on YouTube first. It may not fit your wheelhouse in terms of jazz, so give it a listen on YouTube first. But those are some of my recommendations during this video. Like I said, listen to these on YouTube first. Don't rush out and buy because you may not like the music, and then consider buying them. That's what I always try to recommend. But I thought I'd do something different than, reviewing some of these expensive box sets over here, some of these UHQRs and stuff, even though I've done that in the past. But I thought I'd give some of these records a brief mention. But please leave your comments in the comments section below. I really appreciate it. Thank you very much for taking the time to view my video. I really appreciate it. Like I said, please like and subscribe. God bless, strong love, and keep the peace worldwide.